Now I want to move on to a different track with another sampler, and on this track, what I want to do is take advantage of the velocity zones. So let me go ahead and make this full screen. I already have this set up to the multi-sample mode. And I'm going to bring in a few different percussive sounds or hi-hat sounds or something, and I want to make it so that I can trigger a different sound based on the velocity of the notes that I'm entering. Because of that, I'm going to go ahead and just switch this view so that I can see the different velocity lanes here. Now you notice we have two different icons here. As I hover my mouse over this one, at the bottom of the screen it's telling me, click, select velocity values. So as I place different samples in here, I'll see their key zone in the middle, and then I'll see the range of velocities over here. All right, so let's go back. I'm in the samples folder, and I want to find some interesting stuff. Why not? Okay, this will actually be good. So I'm going to keep this relatively simple, and I'm going to drop these all around. Let's say they really don't need to be spread around a range of notes, but I'll do it anyway. Do this like so. I'm going to find a bunch more sounds here. Why not? And my intention is not to play all these at the same time. My intention is to be able to choose or play different sounds, maybe different combinations of sounds, based on the velocity of the note that is played. Let me see. So more drums here. What is this? Yeah, why not? We'll bring that in. And I'll bring in one more sample. And I'll grab this too, because that'll be kind of cool. For this last sample, I'm going to make it very short. I just want the initial beginning. All right, so if I was to play a note right now, I'm going to hear everything, but that's not really what I want. Now, I'm using a keyboard that is velocity sensitive, and we can see that I'm basically hitting a velocity between the minimum and the maximum, and all these key zones are laid across all possible ranges of velocity. Now what I can do instead is I can make it so that specific key zones are only triggered by specific velocities. So for example, let's make it so that maybe this has to be relatively low. This will need to be right about there. And this would need to be somewhere around here. And maybe this would be somewhere up here. And blah, 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 blah. You kind of get the gist. All right, so if I do it like this particular key zone will always play no matter what velocity. But you can see as I'm playing at different velocities here, I'm triggering different key zones. Now, another very cool thing that we can do here, let me go ahead and select all of these. If I right click, I have the option to distribute them equally based on either the key, velocity, or the select parameter. Since I'm dealing with velocities, I'm going to distribute the velocities equally. Okay, that makes it much more simple than trying to grab these and make sure that they're evenly distributed by hand. Cool. Now, when I'm playing the notes on the keyboard, it can be hard to hit specific velocities that are going to trigger specific key zones. But in my case, I want to use an arpeggiator because I love using the arpeggiator, and I can adjust the velocity of each step on the arpeggiator to make it so that it's going to trigger different key zones. What I'd also like to do, I have no intention of looping these key zones, so I'm going to go ahead and change my envelope here to shot because I basically just want these to play all the way out. Okay, cool. So with that set up, let me go ahead and minimize this. I'm going to create a clip. I'm going to draw one long note into the clip here. And using the arpeggiator, I'm going into my note effects. There's my lovely arpeggiator. I'm just going to adjust the velocity here. So it's kind of random per step. And this will allow us to trigger different samples because we're using our velocity zones here. Now it's never actually hitting that last one. Oh, I guess it is. I like that. I like that. And then I can go into the individual samples. And of course, yeah, I think actually this just needs to be a lot shorter. There we go. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and hear this with the drums that I had going on from before, which I believe are up here. I like that. Okay, all right, we're getting somewhere. Next, let's check out the zone select parameter.